my name is Elaine. I'm 32, a marketing manager, and I've been married to my incredible husband, Thomas, for 5 years. What I'm about to share is a story of betrayal, courage, and the moment I stood up to a family that tried to break us. It's a story that changed my life forever, and I think it might resonate with you. Before we dive in, please hit that like button, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment below. Have you ever had to stand up to a manipulative family member? Let me know where you're watching from. Your support means the world, and it helps me share stories like this with more people. Now, let's get into it. It was supposed to be a night of celebration. My in-laws, Harold and Vivian, were marking their 35th wedding anniversary, and Thomas and I had planned a beautiful dinner at Le Chateau, an upscale restaurant with a reputation for elegance and unforgettable cuisine. We wanted to honor their milestone with a thoughtful gesture, a night to bring our family closer together. But when the bill arrived, everything unraveled. My sister-in-law, Amanda, orchestrated a betrayal so brazen it left me speechless. She looked at me with a saccharine smile and said words I'll never forget. Oh, sister-in-law. We left our wallet at home, and our cards too. That moment wasn't just about money. It was the culmination of years of manipulation, entitlement, and disrespect. It was the night I realized I couldn't stay silent anymore. Let me take you back to where this all began. Thomas and I met 7 years ago at a marketing conference. He was presenting on digital strategy, and I was captivated by his intelligence and quiet confidence. His voice carried a calm authority, and his eyes sparkled with passion for his work. I remember thinking, this is someone special. We dated for 2 years, and our wedding was a small and intimate affair surrounded by close friends and family. From the start, I noticed tension in Thomas's family, but I brushed it off as typical in-law dynamics. I had no idea how deep the dysfunction ran until I became part of it. Thomas is the kindest person I know. As a software engineer, he's hardworking, thoughtful, and fiercely dedicated. But when it comes to his family, especially his sister, Amanda, he becomes a different person. Years of conditioning taught him to bend to their demands, to swallow his feelings, to be the good son who never rocked the boat. Whenever I suggested he stand up for himself, he'd get defensive or change the subject, as if confronting his family was unthinkable. It was like watching someone I loved disappear under the weight of their expectations. Amanda, 35, 3 years older than Thomas, is the golden child. With her perfectly styled blonde hair, designer clothes, and polished demeanor, she projects an image of success. She's married to Derek, a finance manager at a prestigious firm, and they live in a sprawling house in an upscale neighborhood. On the surface, their life looks perfect, Instagram-worthy vacations, luxury cars, the works. But beneath that glossy facade is a pattern of entitlement and manipulation that's been festering for years. Amanda has a way of bending people to her will, and her parents, Harold and Vivian, have always enabled it. Harold and Vivian built a successful real estate business and now live comfortably in retirement. Harold is a tall, commanding presence with a booming voice that demands attention. Vivian, petite and elegant, maintains an immaculate home and a flawless appearance. They've always favored Amanda, attending her every event, showering her with praise. While Thomas's achievements, like his promotions or academic honors, were often overlooked, it wasn't just neglect. It was as if Thomas existed in Amanda's shadow, his worth measured by how much he could do for her. Derek, Amanda's husband, is a quiet figure at family gatherings. He nods along to her every word, laughs at her jokes, even the ones that cut Thomas down, and follows her lead without question. I've often wondered if he's truly happy or just trapped in a dynamic where his voice doesn't matter. Over the years, I watched Amanda exploit Thomas financially time and again when she and Derek renovated their kitchen. She convinced Thomas to loan them $20,000 money we never saw again. When they needed a new car, she guilted Thomas into contributing to their luxury SUV, claiming it was for family unity each time. Thomas justified it, saying, "That's what family does." But the generosity was a one-way street. When Thomas and I were saving for our home's down payment, Amanda offered nothing, not even a kind word. When Thomas faced emergency dental surgery and worried about the cost, she was suddenly unreachable. The pattern was clear to everyone except Thomas, who clung to the hope that his family would one day reciprocate his loyalty. I tried setting boundaries, but it was like walking through a minefield. Once, Amanda asked us to watch her kids for a week while she and Derek vacationed in Hawaii. I politely declined, citing work deadlines, and it sparked a months-long Cold War. Harold and Vivian called to scold us for not helping family, and Thomas and I argued after every family gathering. He accused me of being too sensitive. I begged him to see how his family was draining us emotionally and financially. The tension was straining our marriage. I felt like I was losing the man I loved to a family that didn't value him. Last Christmas, Amanda pushed us to our breaking point. She announced she'd booked an extravagant ski resort for the family and expected us to cover 40% of the cost, thousands of dollars we didn't have. After hours of heated discussion, Thomas finally agreed we needed boundaries. It was a small victory, but it gave me hope. When Harold and Vivian's 35th anniversary approached, we saw it as a chance to mend fences. I suggested Le Chateau, a restaurant known for its exquisite food and elegant ambiance. It was upscale, but within our budget if everyone ordered reasonably. Thomas loved the idea, and we spent weeks planning. I researched the menu, made reservations for 6, and worked with Thomas to create a heartfelt gift, a custom photo album chronicling his parents' 35 years together, paired with a gift certificate for a weekend getaway at a bed and breakfast they'd mentioned loving. Despite my reservations about Amanda, I poured my heart into making this night special. I wanted to believe we could start fresh, that this dinner could be a turning point for our family. Le Chateau is perched atop a hill, housed in a renovated historic mansion with lush gardens and breathtaking city views. As we pulled into the circular driveway, a valet took our car, and Thomas squeezed my hand, his eyes bright with anticipation. The interior was stunning crystal chandeliers, white linen tables, floor-to-ceiling windows showcasing the glittering skyline. A hostess in a sleek black dress led us to our reserved corner table. "Perfect for privacy and views. This is lovely," I whispered to Thomas as we sat. He nodded, relief washing over his face. Harold and Vivian arrived on time, dressed to impress. Vivian wore a navy dress with pearl accessories, and Harold sported a tailored suit. "Happy anniversary," Thomas and I said, standing to hug them. "This place looks expensive," Harold remarked, scanning the room. "You didn't have to go all out. We wanted to make your anniversary special," Thomas replied, beaming. 35 years is something to celebrate. Vivian's smile was tight. "It's nice." Amanda suggested another restaurant. "But this will do." Her lukewarm response stung, but I kept my composure. "The chef here is award-winning." I said, "I think you'll love it." The waiter presented menus and described specials, including dry-aged prime rib and Chilean sea bass. I noticed the prices were higher than when I checked online. The menu had been updated for the season. Still, I calculated we could manage if everyone was reasonable. 20 minutes late, Amanda and Derek arrived. Amanda swept in wearing a red designer dress that screamed extravagance, air-kissing everyone before sitting. "Sorry we're late," she said, sounding anything but sorry. "Traffic was awful, and we couldn't find parking. The restaurant has valet," I pointed out gently. Amanda waved me off. "Derek doesn't trust valets with his new car." Derek nodded, though he looked like he was hearing this for the first time. Amanda immediately critiqued the restaurant. "Interesting choice," she said, frowning. "I heard their chef left for that new place downtown. The current chef has a Michelin star." I corrected politely. "I researched thoroughly." "How thoughtful," Amanda replied, her smile not reaching her eyes. "Mom, Dad, you should try the lobster. It's imported daily." I glanced at the menu. The lobster was the priciest item, before I could suggest alternatives. Vivian nodded enthusiastically. That sounds wonderful. Harold, shall we both get it? Harold agreed. Why not? It's a special occasion. The waiter took drink orders, and Amanda didn't hesitate. Let's start with champagne for the table. Do you have Dom Perignon? The waiter confirmed they had the 2008 vintage. Perfect. We'll take a bottle. I caught Thomas's eye, signaling my concern. A bottle of Dom Perignon was way beyond our budget. Before Thomas could speak, Harold raised his glass. To 35 wonderful years with my beautiful wife. We clinked glasses, and I tried to relax. Maybe one bottle was fine for such a milestone, but my unease returned when Amanda ordered a second bottle before the first was empty. Order whatever you want, Vivian encouraged as we reviewed the menu. It's not every day we celebrate 35 years. Amanda proceeded to select the most expensive appetizer, main course, and sides for the table. Derek followed her lead, while Harold and Vivian stuck with the lobster. Thomas and I chose modest options, but the bill was already spiraling. Then Amanda dropped a bombshell. Elaine's treat tonight is so generous, she said casually. It's nice to be pampered. I nearly choked. Actually, I said. Thomas and I planned to cover a reasonable dinner, but we expected everyone to be mindful of costs. An awkward silence fell, broken by Vivian's light laugh. Oh, Elaine, always so humorous. Another toast to our generous hosts. I tried to steer the conversation to Harold and Vivian's anniversary, asking about their favorite memories, but Amanda hijacked every topic. When I asked about their wedding, she interjected. Remember when I was flower girl at Aunt Judith's wedding, everyone said I stole the show. Vivian indulged her, launching into a story about Amanda's childhood dance recital. Thomas sank lower in his chair as the night became a showcase of Amanda's accomplishments. When Harold finally mentioned Thomas, it was to laugh about how he'd broken a vase as a kid. He was always so clumsy. Harold chuckled. I squeezed Thomas's knee under the table, my frustration mounting. This was supposed to be about his parents, not Amanda's ego. As our main courses arrived, Amanda ramped up her attacks, sharing embarrassing stories about Thomas's childhood, like the time he crashed their dad's car into a mailbox at 16 or how his prom date ditched him. Each story was designed to humiliate him. That was 20 years ago, Thomas said quietly, but Amanda ignored him. I couldn't stay silent. Thomas actually won a major client for his company last month. I said, they'd been chasing that account for years. That's nice. Dear, Vivian said dismissively, turning back to Amanda. Tell us about your Paris trip. Amanda launched into a monologue about first-class flights and five-star hotels, ordering another bottle of wine and a $200 seafood platter for the table. In the restroom, Amanda cornered me. As we stood at the sinks, she applied lipstick and said, Thomas always did marry beneath him, but at least you're good for picking up checks. I was floored. Excuse me. Don't play naive, she snapped, shutting her purse. Just leave a good tip. The service is excellent. She walked out, leaving me gripping the sink, my heart racing. This wasn't just manipulation, it was deliberate cruelty. Back at the table, Amanda kept pushing. She ordered extravagant desserts, cognac, and after-dinner drinks, ignoring our budget. I'd explicitly told the family we'd cover a reasonable dinner, and they'd agreed. Harold had even said, a simple dinner with family is all we need. Yet Amanda was orchestrating a financial ambush. Buy dessert. I estimated the bill at $3,000 money we'd saved for home repairs. My anger grew, but I held it together, determined not to ruin Harold and Vivian's night. After 3 hours, the waiter asked if we wanted coffee. Just the check. Please, I said, bracing myself. When I opened the leather folder, my heart stopped. The total wasn't $3,000 or even $5,000. It was $100,000. I blinked, thinking I'd misread. But the number stared back at me. The itemized list included rare wines, premium caviar, off-menu specials, and a private dining room fee we hadn't requested. Is everything okay? Thomas asked, Seeing my face, before I could answer, Amanda gasped theatrically. "Oh, sister-in-law. We left our wallet at home, and our cards too." Harold and Vivian laughed as if it were a hilarious joke. Derek chimed in. "Completely forgot. Left everything on the dresser." I stared at them, the bill trembling in my hands. Thomas looked at it and whispered, $100, $1,000. This can't be right. The waiter returned, sensing trouble. "Is there a problem?" Silence gripped the table. Amanda's smug expression, Harold and Vivian's expectant faces, Thomas's shock, it all crystallized in that moment. Years of swallowing my anger, of being the good daughter-in-law, of watching Thomas shrink under his family's weight, it all shattered. "Yes," I said, my voice steady, but loud enough for all to hear. "There is a problem. This bill is incorrect, and my husband and I won't cover expenses we didn't authorize. Amanda and Derek deliberately ordered extravagant items knowing they wouldn't pay. Harold and Vivian. We wanted to celebrate your anniversary, but we were clear about our budget. I'll pay for what Thomas and I consumed, plus the reasonable dinner we agreed to host. The rest is on those who ordered it." The laughter died. Amanda's smugness turned to shock, then outrage. Harold's jaw tightened, and Vivian set her napkin down with deliberate slowness. "Elaine," Vivian said icily, "this is hardly the time for penny pinching. It's our anniversary, which is why we planned a lovely dinner within our means," I replied. "Not this." "Are you refusing to pay?" Amanda demanded, her voice rising. Thomas finally spoke. "What exactly has this family done for us?" Amanda enlightened me. The manager approached, sensing the tension. "Is everything all right?" I handed him the bill. "This is incorrect. We didn't order most of these items or request a private dining room." He examined it and promised to investigate. Amanda hissed, "You're making a scene. Just pay it, and we'll discuss it later. There's nothing to discuss." I said firmly, "We agreed to host a reasonable dinner, not finance a luxury feast for people who don't respect us." Harold scoffed. "Boundaries." "Family doesn't have boundaries. Healthy families do," I countered, "and they don't exploit each other." The manager returned with a revised bill, $8,342. Someone had added another party's charges to ours. It was still 8 times our budget. "Thank you," I said. "Now, we'll need separate checks, one for me and my husband, one for Mr. and Mrs. Wilson, one for Amanda and Derek." Amanda protested. "This was your gift to our parents." "A reasonable dinner was our gift," Thomas said, "not an $8,000, $1,000 extravaganza." Vivian teared up. "I can't believe you're ruining our anniversary." "Mom," Thomas said, "you taught me responsibility. I'm being responsible with our finances." Harold glared. "We expected better from you both, and we expected respect." I replied, "We're all disappointed." The manager split the bills. Ours was $1,000 as planned. Harold and Vivian's was $3,000. Amanda and Derek's was $4,000. Amanda panicked, turning to her parents. Harold silenced her and paid their share. Derek, caught in the lie about forgetting his wallet, sheepishly produced it from his pocket. The bills were paid in silence, and we left. The walk to the parking lot felt endless. Harold and Vivian led, rigid with disapproval. Amanda and Derek whispered furiously. Thomas and I held hands, united in the lot. Amanda whirled on us. "You humiliated us. You tried to stick us with an $8,000 bill after lying." I shot back. "It was a joke." She insisted. "We were going to pay our share." "Were you?" Thomas asked. "Because that's not what you told Elaine in the bathroom about leaving a good tip." Amanda faltered, then recovered. "You're twisting my words," Harold boomed. "Enough. This is unacceptable." Vivian sobbed. 35 years. And this is how it ends, fighting in a parking lot. It wasn't about the money. I said, it was about respect. You excluded Thomas all night, Amanda, and deliberately ordered beyond our means. It was family teasing. She scoffed. "It's never just teasing," Thomas said, his voice steady. "It's about making yourself look better at my expense. I'm done." Harold told him to calm down, but Thomas stood firm. "I know who Amanda is. Dad, I've always known. I just never had the courage to say it." Vivian wailed, and Harold escorted her away, saying, "When you're ready to apologize, you know where to find us." Amanda's parting shot echoed, "I told you she was changing him." Driving home, Thomas was quiet, on our couch, still in our dinner clothes. He whispered, "They're going to be so angry. I've never stood up to them before. I'm proud of you." I said, "It was calculated, Thomas. Amanda planned this." He nodded. "I've always known how she manipulates, but it was easier to go along. My parents enable her because it's easier than confronting her." My phone buzzed with Amanda's angry texts. Harold called, demanding an apology. Thomas hung up, tears in his eyes. "I've never done that before." I hugged him. "It's going to be okay. Not right away, but eventually." The next few weeks were a storm. Amanda's texts alternated between rage and victimhood. Vivian sent guilt-tripping messages. Harold's calls grew demanding. We sent a polite message requesting space, which was met with more anger. Thomas started therapy to unpack why he tolerated his family's treatment for so long. I supported him, proud of his courage. Amanda tried rewriting history, telling relatives we'd abandoned our parents with the bill. Thomas's cousin Natalie called, skeptical until I explained. She admitted Amanda had manipulated her too, hinting at an ally's. Amanda's social media posts vaguely lamented fake family, escalating to claims we'd ruined the anniversary out of spite. 3 weeks later, Derek asked to meet Thomas alone. He looked terrible. Thomas reported, "Amanda's been blaming everyone but herself." He apologized and admitted this wasn't her first stunt. He goes along because it's easier than fighting her. But seeing me stand up made him question their relationship. It confirmed what we'd suspected. Amanda's control extended beyond our family. Thomas grew stronger daily. He excelled at work, earning a promotion he no longer downplayed. He rekindled old friendships, free from his family's demands. 2 months after the incident, he wrote his parents a letter not to apologize, but to express how it felt to live in Amanda's shadow, to give endlessly without being valued. "They might not respond well," he said, "but I need to be honest." 3 days later, Harold called. He listened. Thomas said, amazed. He didn't agree, but he didn't dismiss me. He wants to meet for lunch. The lunch was a small step. Harold admitted they'd been too indulgent with Amanda, though he didn't fully acknowledge her manipulation. Amanda was furious about the meeting, accusing Thomas of turning Harold against her. She showed up at our house unannounced, shouting, "You've ruined everything I stood firm. If your parents are treating you differently, it's because they see your behavior clearly. When she tried to push past me, I blocked her. You're not welcome until you take responsibility and apologize." She laughed bitterly and left. Thomas hugged me. "Thank you for protecting our home." Over months, we built a cautious relationship with Harold and Vivian, meeting for coffee or lunch with clear boundaries. Vivian was slower to change, but even she noticed Amanda's tactics when Amanda tried guilting her into funding a vacation. 5 months after the incident, Harold invited us for a simple home-cooked dinner. No Amanda. They apologized, admitting they'd missed Amanda's patterns. "It's hard to admit your child is manipulative," Vivian said. "It's hard for a brother, too," Thomas replied. It wasn't a full reconciliation, but it was a start. 6 months later, we attended a family barbecue at a park, the first time we'd all be together since that night. Harold and Vivian greeted us warmly, a stark contrast to their past stiffness. Amanda arrived late, her demeanor stiff but subdued. The dynamic had shifted. Harold didn't cater to her. And Vivian called out her cutting remarks. Thomas shone, sharing his promotion confidently, undeterred by Amanda's interruptions. Derek confided that he was standing up to Amanda more, inspired by us. The day wasn't perfect, but it was progress. Harold approached us as we packed up. "Thank you for the second chance. These months have been eye-opening. We didn't realize how much we'd let Amanda dominate." Vivian added. She's struggling, but we hope she'll see that boundaries benefit everyone. Thomas smiled. Even if she doesn't. I'm grateful we've found a better way to relate. Driving home, Thomas said, I actually enjoyed today, maybe for the first time in my adult life. Our relationship with his parents deepened. They attended his award ceremony, celebrated our anniversary, and treated us with respect. Amanda remained resistant, but her tactics lost power as we held firm. The journey taught us that true family is about mutual respect, not obligation. Financial exploitation was just a symptom of a deeper imbalance, and by addressing the root, we created lasting change. Our marriage grew stronger. Forged in adversity, we became true partners, navigating tough conversations with unity. The freedom to be authentic, to expect better, was worth every storm. Maintaining boundaries is ongoing, but we're vigilant, guided by the principle that respect must be mutual and earned. Have you ever had to stand up to family taking advantage of you? What boundaries have you set? Share your stories in the comments. I'd love to hear them. If this resonated, please like, subscribe, and share with someone who needs to hear it. Setting boundaries isn't selfish. It's essential for healthy relationships. Thank you for listening, and I wish you a courage on your journey to balanced, respectful connections.